You are tuned in to 2 to 3 with Janet Leigh. And today I have a special guest on the show, so let's go ahead and get right down to it. And I want to introduce Director and Writer Ryan Bellgardt. And hopefully I pronounced your last name correctly, Ryan.
You did. You got it right, yeah.
Oh,
the
awesome.
silent D. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm very happy to be here. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on the show and talk about your movies and everything.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, how's the weather where you're at today?
I'm in Oklahoma City, and it's really hot. It's like
wow.
90, almost 100 degrees or something like that.
Oh, God.
And, yeah, so, and very humid here.
Ooh.
So, yeah. What about you?
It's hot. It's a little bit humid from where it's been raining the past 2 days, and it finally stopped raining since earlier day, but it's about 80 degrees or so, not too bad
good.
right now. Not too bad. I like the hot weather, but once it's too hot, it's like, no, keep your ass in the house with the air conditioning.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of how it is here in Oklahoma City. It's either like really hot or really cold, and there's about 2 weeks of spring, I think.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been directing and writing?
Well, I've been directing and writing for a long time, but I really didn't start getting into movies until about 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But before that, I had done a lot of videos for like television commercials and corporate videos or music videos or little. I had a friend named Lucas, and he and I did a lot of sort of like interstitials for like little comedy bits and sketches for kind of like in between the breaks on the Saturday night movies on a local TV station and things like that. So, and then I did some half-hour Christmas shows and just some TV stuff. But like I didn't get into doing feature films until my first movie, which was Army of Frankenstein, which was about 4 years ago now.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And Army of Frankenstein's, you won a lot of awards for that and were nominated for many. How did that feel with your first feature, Army of Frankenstein's, with the awards and everything? How did you feel with that?
Oh, it felt great. I mean, we honestly had no ambitions for it to do anything other than just. I remember when we were starting to make it, and we had a table read, with all of our cast, and one of the guys asked me, "What's your plans for Army of Frankenstein?" at the time, and I was just like, "All I can tell you is that we're going to finish it. We're going to have a big party where everybody gets to watch it." And that was kind of my ambitions at the time. I didn't really realize that you could go beyond that, because that was the first thing we'd ever done.
Right.
We sort of just did it for fun, And once it started getting interest from sales agents and distributors and film festivals and things like that, or start picking up, awards here and there, we were like, hey, well, maybe that's kind of cool. It's always nice to be sort of recognized by people that you look up to. Yeah. As when they recognize you and say, hey, you're doing a good job, that always makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing, I guess.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, it's like, I'm not necessarily trying to win an award. I'm just trying to make the most entertaining movie that I can.
Right. That's always a given with that. Now, and I've done some research, and correct me if I'm wrong, because everything's not always updated. You have you're president and creative director of Boiling Point Media, as well as co-founded Six Stitches Entertainment.
Yeah, Boiling Point Media is a production company that we do a lot of that work I was talking about, and we still do a lot of video production work. So me and the team that put together these movies all work together. It's our full-time job every day of creating video content, and we do everything, like I said, from television commercials to visual effects for movies and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And then Six Stitches Entertainment is a company that I founded with Josh McCaney, who's my DP, and Andy Swanson, who's my editor. Both these guys are the core guys, three of us that have always been there sort of like doing kind of we're the core team that puts these movies together. And so now we're working on our third movie, and we're in post-production, and we're still going strong as ever with that. So it's just kind of it's cool. It's a way for us to put some logos in the front of the movie, I guess,
Right. Now, What was your inspiration to become a director and writer? What was the inspiration behind you creating this production company and wanting to be creating the TV commercials and things like that, as well as your feature films?
Well, I just always loved to create stuff. When I was younger, I wanted to be a musician, and I actually went to college and studied music, and I just love the process of writing music and writing songs, and I love the idea that you could take something like a guitar or a piano, and then a few minutes later or an hour later have something that didn't exist before. Right. And I think when I started getting into doing, I did radio for a long time, and I started doing production and radio production, and I started doing commercial jingles and things like that. It just sort of like dawned on me that I really love creating. I love telling stories, and I sort of moved over into video production because some people I was working with was asking me, they were like, do you know anyone that does video production? Because I need a commercial. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I had never done one. And so I went and bought a camera and started to do it. And I really fell in love with the idea. And it exercised the same muscles in my brain, I felt like, that music did, where it was like, oh, this is so cool. I can take this equipment and I can have an idea and make something that didn't exist before. And so once I get going and getting further and further and going down that rabbit hole more and more, I wanted to learn more and more about things like visual effects and things like, the cameras and the lenses and all the techniques and all the lighting and all of that stuff to just create. And I think that's the main thing that kind of inspired me and drove me to do it. And then it wasn't until I saw that a friend of mine was able to make a feature film that looked really good for a pretty low budget. Right. Because the technology had kind of caught up, So it was easier for guys like us who didn't have a lot of money to get our hands on equipment that could make stuff look pretty good. That's when I was like, I think I'm kind of ready to tackle doing a feature film. Right. And so we all got together and started and did it for not very much money, and it started to open a lot of doors for us. It's really cool.
That's amazing. Now, the Army of Frankensteins, I'm pretty sure the title speaks for itself, but since we're on that subject of that one, can you let the listeners know that haven't heard of that by chance, what that is about, and if it's available now for people to watch?
Sure. I know it's available right now on Amazon Prime, I think. So if you're an Amazon Prime person, I think you can watch it for free. But Shout Factory, a Screen Factory, is our distributor on that. I know you can buy Blu-rays and stuff on their website. It's kind of available anywhere if you just search for it. But it's basically kind of a fun adventure story about a guy who oh gosh, I haven't described this in a while, but it's the guy who kind of gets kidnapped by a mad scientist, and the mad scientist takes out his eyeball and puts it into a Frankenstein monster, and then they kind of like flip this switch and lightning strikes and something happens that's not supposed to, and the technology goes haywire, and all these Frankenstein monsters get cloned, and then they all get sent back in time to fight in the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it's just a crazy kind of like flying B kind of style movie that's just ridiculous. And we sort of threw everything in there that, they end up meeting Abraham Lincoln and trying to stop the Abraham Lincoln assassination, and all this crazy stuff happens. And it's kind of a fun sort of Back to the Future style time travel movie with Frankenstein monsters and Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, wow. So, that does sound kind of crazy.
It's fun. It is crazy. It's crazy, and it was fun, and we had a lot of fun doing it. Of course, when I look back at it now, there's things I would do differently, obviously, but I mean, to me, it's all about learning and getting better each time you do it. I think that's definitely something we did on that one.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, how long did it take from, I reckon, from the point from writing it to actually putting it into pre-production, post-production, and production?
Army of Frankenstein is a lot more drawn out than what we're used to now. I remember, it took us probably a few months to write Army of Frankenstein, and then we shot it over 8 months, and then we were about another 8 months of post-production. So that one took almost 2 years to do. But now with our other movies, we're on a much more accelerated timeline. So we're more like, come up with the idea in January and get the script written by the end of January, and then we're casting in February, we're shooting in March, and then we're editing in April, and then in June we're starting on post-production, and then we just kind of repeat the process every year.
Oh, wow.
So we're trying to do now,
Okay.
And so we go at a pretty accelerated pace, but I've got a really great team, and the more we do it, the faster we get and the better we get, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and it sounds like it's a lot of fun, especially with that movie Army of Frankenstein. That sounds like that would have been a lot of fun to do. So
they're all fun. I love doing them all. It's fun, especially the genre we get to do with like creatures and monsters and dinosaurs or whatever. It's like really fun to try to figure out how to bring those things to life. It's something I've kind of always thought would be awesome since I was a kid. Those are the kind of movies I loved growing up were kind of 80s popcorn movies, and, or movies like Jurassic Park or something. Those are the kind of movies I love.
Now, I want to go ahead and jump right on into this movie, Gremlin. Okay, you've just got to let listeners know, for those that don't know, what that is exactly about.
Well, Gremlin is our second feature film, and for that, in contrast to Army of Frankenstein, which was kind of goofy and fun, I wanted to do something, challenge myself as a filmmaker to do something that was dark and sinister and kind of like desperate. And so we wrote this story originally called "Give It to Someone You Love," and it was about a box that this family had, and inside it was a creature that would torment whoever possesses this box by killing everyone that they love.
Right.
And the only way they could give this box away was to give it to someone else that they loved.
Oh wow.
And then it started all over again. So we had that little idea, and we started talking with our sales agent who helped us sell Army of Frankenstein, and he helped us develop it into kind of what it is now. And we changed the name to Gremlin, and we just we added some stuff to it to give us some really cool trailer moments and stuff. And so we kind of went from there. And it's interesting because in this one I felt like I really wanted to explore like the psychological horror of like what would someone do if they had sort of an unwinnable situation like what this box is. And I thought that was really fun. It was fun for us as filmmakers to kind of flex different muscles and try something different. And because in Army of Frankenstein we're able to make people kind of groan and laugh and all that, but on this one I was like, can we make people nervous or upset or scared or cry? So that's kind of what we were trying to do here. And I think so far we've screened it for a few audiences at a festival and at our screenings that we've had locally, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to get reaction and watch people that are just like, oh, I was so disturbed or I was upset. It's like, good, that's what we wanted.
Now, with this film, is it available yet?
It comes out on VOD on July 11th. So 7/11, you'll be able to get it on all the VOD platforms, and then there will be a DVD released later. I'm not sure the date on that one, but it will be available on VOD on 7/11.
Wow. Now, with this film, what throughout the film, I know you just explained what it was about. But what can people expect when they do watch this film?
Oh, wow. Well, hopefully they can expect a cool story about a different take on a creature feature.
Right.
It's like and really my goal on this one was like, we wanted to do some pretty cool CG effects with this creature, and that's something that we've been working on for a long time, just implement CG effects into a movie. So, we've got a CG creature that's kind of running around and killing people, but what I was always kind of focusing on was, can I make this a good movie even if it didn't have a creature in it? And or interesting, and so I really focused on the story, and I focused on like I was kind of saying, the psychological horror that the family kind of goes through. So I think you can expect like some pretty cool performances by some great actors who really are able to, I think, kind of bring that story to life and really seem like they're people that are either that are in pain and scared and don't know really what to do with this thing. And then on top of that, we can add our fun creature into the mix. And I think it's a pretty fun movie that I don't know, some people don't describe it as fun, but I think it's fun.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be fun. And even just the movie poster for it on the IMDb page for Gremlin, it looks amazing. It looks like it's going to be one of those that you're just can't break away from it. No matter if you've got to take a break to go to the bathroom or get a snack, you better do all that before you sit down with it.
I hope so. I sure hope so. I mean, we definitely, made it. One thing I like to do, even when I'm writing, is make sure that every single scene matters, every single line of dialogue matters, and it's always moving the story forward,
right?
And keeping people intrigued. So that's this story was pretty challenging to write because this box has these specific rules, and so I think one of the things that was interesting is to try to write how this family can try to learn the rules and then try to break them and see what happens when they do break them. So I think it can be pretty intriguing for the audience to try to figure out, how what are the rules of this box, and how does this family deal with them,
Right.
and what happens at the end. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I like the movies that you got to sit there and be like, well, I think this is gonna happen. No, wait, that just happened. So I like the ones that it's a mystery you got to figure out, and then at the end it's like, oh my God, seriously?
Yeah, I love those types of movies too. Yeah.
With you being a writer and you've written this feature and other features and even other little things that you've done here and there, what is your process of writing? Is there certain times of the day that's best when you're most creative, or what is it?
That's funny. I think I always have like my breakthrough ideas at like 4 o'clock in the morning for some reason.
Wow.
I don't know why, but I wake up in the morning. Maybe it's like because I've had a dream or something, and other times too, or I'll maybe be in the shower in the morning getting ready, and I'll have like some kind of idea. But I've always been kind of a morning person, so I do have a lot of inspiration in the mornings. But I think my process is just I have a great group of guys that I bounce ideas off of, and we all sit around and we'll go to Chili's or something and just start talking about an idea, and it'll just start to grow, and eventually we'll start to write stuff down. I'll start to take notes of our conversations, and then those notes will come and turn into pages of notes.
Oh wow!
And then I will go back and maybe start to develop a story out of that. And I'll write, like, I think for Gremlin and for my next movie, Jurassic Games, I think my sort of stories are about 20 pages or so that were just like, no, not really formatted or anything, just a story.
Right.
And then I'll take that and I'll start to, I kind of use the note card method where I start thinking about scenes.
Right.
So I'll like write a scene on a note card, and then that way what's cool about that is I can pin that up on a wall and sort of rearrange them and move them around, and then sort of realize, okay, well, my first act needs some more scenes, or my third act needs some more scenes, and I can start fleshing those out. So then I might have like 50 note cards or so, and then once I have those note cards, I can start to write an outline for a script.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, I just kind of like, after I have that outline, I can just sit down and write an actual screenplay really fast. I think I wrote the Gremlin screenplay itself in like 10 days because my outline was so thorough and thought out that the script was just basically filling in the dialogue and kind of just fleshing it out more.
Yeah.
So it's a long process, and I know every time I'm in the process, I feel like a lot of pressure.
Right.
But I do like it. I remember writing Gremlin, and when I got to that point where I was like, okay, I'm going to write the screenplay in 10 days, and I remember thinking I'm going to write 10 pages every day, so I got really deep into it and really heavy into it, and I got kind of to this weird place because, like, on day 7 or 8, I remember coming out of my room and going to my wife and being like, my brain is like acting strange because I'm sitting here for a week trying to figure out ways to kill a family. And that's all I'm thinking about. And it's like I was like starting to go to these like really dark places in my mind, and the original draft of the script just kept getting darker and darker and darker. And so the end of my original ending for Gremlin was like so dark that when I started to show it around to my team, they were like, yeah, no, you can't do that. It's too dark. It's too depressing. And I was like, well, that's where it went. So I'm lucky that I've got a great group of guys that can kind of help pull me back out from the depths of hell or wherever I was during that. But yeah, you sort of get into this mindset where you start to live the story, and that's the point in the process for me.
Right.
When I get scared or when there's that for me is the first time to watch the movie.
Right.
It's the closest that I'll ever get to someone who watches the movie for the first time and experiences all the things and the twists and turns of the movie for the first time. So it is kind of a neat sort of moment when it's just you by yourself with the computer coming up with what happened. And then of course it's always fun and rewarding to see an actor act it out for the first time in an audition, and then to see it on the screen later all put together with an audience is really rewarding too. But and you can learn from it. You can learn like some of the things I think are going to be great aren't, or vice versa. So the process is it's hard and challenging, but I really do enjoy it. And one thing I would say to people who like to write or want to write is if you think it's bad, don't just crumple it up and throw it away and start over and over again. Just keep writing and get it out. So like no matter how bad it is or how bad you think it is, I think you gotta just keep writing and get to the end. Right. And I think that's really important.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense instead of just keep stopping and starting over just because you don't think it's good. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just keep writing and get it on out of there.
Yeah, like something that is a big problem for you on page 10, you might be able to solve when you get to page 90.
Right.
Okay. And then you go back and you can fix page 10. So, and then I think you have to write a bunch of bad stuff before you can write something good.
Right.
So I just think that's it's just practice and experience and stuff, and I hope that I get to keep writing and get to keep doing this and just get to keep getting better. That's kind of my goal.
Yes, most definitely. Now, with Gremlin, where was that shot at? What locations?
We shot Gremlin entirely in Oklahoma, just like Army of Frankenstein, entirely in Oklahoma. We for Gremlin, we shot the inside of this big mansion they live in. The inside of it was a place called the Grandison Inn, which is a big sort of Victorian-era bed and breakfast here in Oklahoma City. And then there's the exterior is a place called the Overholser Mansion, which is a historical, giant Victorian era kind of house here too. So that's most of the movie we shot there. And we shot in I think a police station or a sheriff's office for a scene, and we built a set that was supposed to look like a motel room for one scene because we wanted to destroy it, and we knew we couldn't do that to an actual motel room. So stuff like that. Yeah, mostly just like we kept Gremlin pretty small as far as the locations. It's just kind of mostly in one place.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, you said the one that you're working on now is Jurassic Games?
Right.
What is that about?
So Jurassic Games is a kind of like the Hunger Games meets Jurassic Park, and it's kind of set in the near future where 10 death row inmates get to play in a game show. And it's a virtual reality show where they get plugged into a virtual reality game that seems completely 100% real to them.
Oh, wow.
And so inside this game, they have to fight against dinosaurs, and they have to do these challenges, and they're also all killers, so they have to survive against each other. And the catch here is if they die inside of this game, then they're hooked up to a lethal injection and they die in real life.
Oh, wow.
And it's all like televised on like some kind of sick game show in the future. So that's what we're working on now, and I'm really happy. We've got our edit done, and I think it's a super fun movie that I hope people are going to like a lot. A lot of fun dinosaur action. Hopefully stuff you haven't seen before.
Most definitely. That does sound like an interesting story plot, and that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, you're getting real creative since your first Army of Frankensteins and now Gremlin and Jurassic Games. Wow, what's going to be what's going to be next?
Yeah, well, it's funny because we're always thinking about that. We're always trying to wonder what's going to be next. And right now we've got sort of just like a handful of like directions and ideas that we'll pursue once we sort of. One thing we like to do is sort of feel out the market and try to figure out and anticipate what buyers are wanting and kind of movies that are going to be, something the market wants. Right. And so we kind of just go that direction once we get kind of closer to knowing what that is. But it can be. I love genre stuff, and I think genre stuff will always be marketable, and things like giant robots and dinosaurs and dragons and things like that are always going to be stuff that we're going to love to do.
Right.
So those kind of movies, I think there's always a place for them, and what I love trying to do is figuring out a way to still tell cool stories and good stories inside of those. Like I would love to do a fantasy movie with a dragon and elves and dwarves and things, and tell a really cool story in sort of that setting.
Yeah. And you can't never
go
wrong
with those. Something that hasn't been done or seen yet.
Yeah, most definitely. Wow, I really hope that you keep on with the creativeness and keep bringing them to the public for us all to view. And I personally am ready to see the Gremlin and the Jurassic Games. I'm really personally
I hope you like it. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Now, before we get out of here, can you let the listeners know where they can follow you at on social media to keep up with your movies and when they're released?
Absolutely. You can go. Each of our movies has a Facebook page, and it's so Gremlin is at Gremlin Movie.
Okay.
Jurassic Games, off the top of my head, I think it's Jurassic Games Movie or just Jurassic Games. You can search for it.
Okay.
And then the Army of Frankenstein has a Facebook page too. So we always keep up to date on releases or any kind of screenings or anything on our on our Facebook. But if you want to just find me on Facebook, it's really easy. Ryan Bellgardt, or on Twitter, Ryan Bellgardt, Bellgardt.
Okay.
And just shoot me a message there. I always love talking shop with other filmmakers,
awesome.
or if you've seen our movie and you want to talk about it, or ask any questions. I love talking to people about this stuff. So.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, is there any shout outs you would like to give?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I want to shout out to some, at the risk of leaving anybody out, I do want to shout out to, of course, Andy and Josh McCamey, Andy Swanson, Josh McCamey, also Chris Hoyt, Adam Hampton, Christy Boone, Catcher Stare. We've got Michael Page, Kyle Pennington. These are just cast and crew of Gremlin.
Okay.
All these guys that, Katie Burgess, all these, Nate, right? I could go on and on and list the entire list of credits, but I want to tell you that all the people that work on our movie, they're such a dedicated and talented group of people that I just could not do this without them, and I wouldn't be here talking to you without them, and I'm very thankful for those guys. Also Galen Christie and everybody from Clint at October Coast and Keith.
Yes.
Of course, I feel like I'm giving an Oscar speech, but maybe this is the closest I'll ever get to that. I don't know. But anyway, thank you, everybody.
Yes, most definitely. And thank you for bringing these amazing films to us and continued. And I congratulate you on your success and your continued success that you will have from these, because I really feel these are going to be some kick-ass films.
Thank you so much. Well, I know one thing, we're having a lot of fun making them, and I feel really fortunate to be able to make them and have them be released. It's just something that I never really dreamed we'd be able to do, and to be here and be able to get these things out to people, it really is awesome. So Thank you very much.
You're so welcome, and thank you for coming on the show. And when you get ready to release the Jurassic Games, I'm going to have to get you back on here again so we can let the public know that.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. And thank you so much. I enjoyed the conversation, and I will be looking for July 11th to come around so I can see Gremlin.
All right. Cool. Thanks so much, Janet.
You're so welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was director and writer Ryan Bellgardt. Be sure to be checking out his film Gremlin on July 11th. Be sure to follow him on social media. Just Google his name and Google his films. You'll see him. Go follow him. Like he said, feel free to message him about the films and everything like that. And yeah, be looking out for Jurassic Games as well, and just stay up with what he's got going on. These look like some awesome ass films, and I know you probably hear me say that with just about everybody I speak with, but these are some talented people that come on the show, and it's very well deserved. They put all their passion and everything into their films. So yeah, show some support and be sure to check everything out. And thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for spending this little bit of time with me on the show today, and I look forward for you spending time with me again tomorrow for my next interview. Be sure to check that out as well. Everyone have a great day. You are tuned in to 2 to 3 with Janet Leigh.